All right, we're heading down I-95 south to the capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia. The Richmond and the Richmond Flying Squirrels have a new ballpark for the 2026 season in CarMax Park. Looks like a beauty. Here to talk to me about the new park and the season so far for the Richmond Flying Squirrels is the director of communications and broadcasting for the Flying Squirrels, Trey Wilson. Trey, thanks for hopping on with us. How are you?
Hey Josh, thanks for having me. Doing well. We just wrapped up the first homestand at CarMax Park. It was awesome. I'm up in Hartford, Connecticut with the team right now uh, for a week on the road before we head back home and get ready for that second homestand at CarMax Park.
The first header on the Richmond Flying Squirrels website. Richmond tops minor league baseball attendance in the first homestand of the regular season. What does that mean just right off the top? Record breaking attendance in a brand new park.
Yeah, the first week was awesome. We've drawn great for years, even in an old ballpark that was a bit outdated, didn't have the tools that we needed to serve our fan base here in Richmond. And now fans are getting a chance to come out and spend evenings out in a new ballpark that's state of the art and comfortable and inviting. And yeah, April is a tough time for a lot of minor league baseball teams. It's either cold or school's still in session, a lot of different factors. And we've sold out every home opener since the first season in 2010. We did that again this year, but then we had so many great crowds over the rest of the week. Um, it was a great way to start the season, and it was made even better by the fact that the team swept the series on the field. The wins and losses are very much out of our control locally, but when the team's winning, we take it, and uh, so that helped keep the energy up in the ballpark every night. Some really good games, some close wins, and the team's off to its hottest start in franchise history. And the ballpark was packed every night. You couldn't ask for a better way to start the season. And I will say, we did get incredibly fortunate with some weather last week. It was beautiful
Oh, yeah.
every day. Tuesday night got a little bit cold in the back half of the game, but otherwise, it was a pretty much perfect weather week, which when you're in the Eastern League in April, that's not always a given.
Yeah, so I know looking back, this has been a long time coming in terms of a new ballpark for the Flying Squirrels. It's finally here, and you mentioned selling out the home opener and record breaking attendance, as I alluded to previously. I would imagine that just translates to how well this ballpark is liked in the community and the little bit of time that you all have been there playing baseball games.
Yeah, when the Squirrels came to town in 2010, um, they brought with them something that was a little bit different. For years and years, Richmond had the Atlanta Braves AAA affiliate, um, which operated as, they were owned by the Atlanta Braves. They were, a Richmond branch of the Atlanta Braves to an extent. And they did pretty well. They had some great players come through, they had some championships. Um, look, I used to come up to games at the Diamond to see the future Atlanta Braves. As a kid who grew up in Virginia, Braves fan. The Nationals weren't around yet. That was a big part of the baseball identity in Virginia, and then it changed. And when the Squirrels came in the fall of 2009, and they did this big press conference to announce baseball was coming back. They announced the team was going to be called the Flying Squirrels. They held this name the team contest, and it was so different. And it was these days when you look around minor league baseball, you expect to see some wacky names, right? Like, uh, the Rocket City Trash Pandas and the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. They've gone way off the rails with some of the names now. But the Flying Squirrels back then was a pretty weird name for minor league baseball. It was eye catching, and what they did was they built an identity and a brand around that name of being Richmond's team. They were active out in the community every day. You saw the flying squirrels everywhere for years, and you still do. And they made the ballpark experience something that could be inviting and entertaining for hardcore baseball fans, people like me who just want to come out and watch 9 innings of baseball, or for people um, who maybe aren't as interested in the baseball. It's a nice backdrop for a social evening out with family and friends and the night of entertainment. And they balanced that out well for the 15 years of the Diamond, and um, made a name for themselves as, one of the most innovative brands in minor league baseball, one of the top drawing teams in minor league baseball. And it was something fresh and different. And I think over time it became something that Richmond could claim as its own a little bit more than the previous tenants. And I think that foundation was set in those 15 years that we were the Diamond. And then now that we've moved into a new ballpark, that's our ballpark, um, it's and it's designed much more. When the Diamond was built in 1985, there were a lot of things that weren't really considered that are considered in some of the ballparks that have come online since then. So it's much more accessible. The sight lines are better. It has a 360-degree concourse. There are all these different things. So when we were already doing so well, we had already made that connection with our community in Richmond, and people came out and filled the ballpark and spent their time together in the Diamond throughout the summer and the spring. We really have a chance here with this new ballpark to take that to a new level. And I think that's what we started to showcase a little bit last week in that first homestand.
So at CarMax Park, looking at a overhead picture that you sent to me earlier, Trey, looks like outfield combination of bar seating, even grass seating, like you're up on a hill essentially in the outfield, and looks like just behind home plate in that section packed. It just looks like a lot of amenities and things that really can get the fans out there for a great evening of fun. Can you take us through some of the cool little features, amenities that are featured at CarMax Park?
Yeah, I'll take you on a tour as if you're coming in through the front gates.
Okay.
The center field gate is the main gate at CarMax Park. And the ballpark was really designed that you can have several different types of experiences every time you come out, and even within one visit. So you come in the gates, and right there, one of the things that really stands out is that, unlike at the Diamond, where you walk in the front gates and you're met with massive staircase going up to the concourse level, at CarMax Park, you come in and the field is sunken down. So you come in and you immediately get greeted by the green of the outfield, and it's so much more pleasant. And there are bleacher seats right there. So there are bleacher seats in the outfield. Those tickets are $12. They're great seats. You've got a great view. It's hard to showcase in a picture how right on top of the action of the outfielders you are in those bleacher seats. And then if you start venturing around to the right, there are some group areas out there that are for group reservations. So there's the party hour, the power alley terrace, and the power alley porch, and then the landing. But then you've got the rail car suites in the left field corner, and they're these made to look like box cars from a train, kind of a nod to Richmond's rail history and the train yard that's right next to where this ballpark was built. And those are really cool. They've got these sliding doors. You can kind of enclose them, or you can, when you get a nice breeze going in the evening, you can open it up and you get the outside air. They're really nice. And as you work your way around the left field corner, there's a space over there called the patio, which is a general admission, standing room only, is kind of what the tickets are called. But it's a space that's open to everybody. There are picnic tables and high top tables and drink rails up along the bullpen and a bar, and that's open to everybody that's in the ballpark. So if you have a standing room only ticket, you can go hang out there. If you have seats and you want to come stretch your legs for a little while, you can hang out there. It's a really cool view looking in from the left field corner, and it also looks right down to the visiting bullpen. And then on that concourse level, you go down, you hit the seating bowl, pretty standard seats that go all the way around from foul pole to foul pole. At the top of the seating bowl, there are these drink rails, which I think are the best deal in the ballpark. There's $16 tickets. You get an assigned space, you get a tabletop, and somewhere you can set your drinks and your food during the game. And they also have great views. As you go around behind home plate, there's the Legacy Club there. That's the high value premium space that's sold out for the season. But also, we really wanted to make this place accessible for the everyday fan, people like I would be if I was coming out to a game. Right behind the Legacy Club, there's a space called the Backstop that has some TVs and couches and tables and another bar there. That's another space that's open to everybody. That was a space that, as we saw last week, more and more people were kind of congregating there to take a little bit of time to relax. It's a really cool space. It feels like a premium area, but it is open to everybody. Then you work your way back around. You go to the right field corner. We have the Woodfin Yard, which is a covered structure. It's a group reservation area. In front of the Woodfin Yard in the right field corner, we have these Adirondack chairs that are in place over there. Those are called the Yard Club. You buy them in pairs of two. Really cool view. We haven't seen it yet, but I'm guessing some home run balls are going to fall there. And as you continue heading back towards center field and right field, you have the bullpen rail seats look down into the home bullpen. They've got the tabletop there as well. You've got the Bon Secours base camp and lawn, that lawn area that you were talking about, that tiered lawn section, which is really a family-centric area, $10 tickets. And then you're back to the bleachers. So a lot of different types of seating area. I'm not even talking about the premium stuff upstairs with the suites, the Atlantic Union Bank Lounge, and the City View suite, but so many different types of experiences that you can have throughout the ballpark. It's much more comfortable way to watch a ball game, and a lot of different options, a lot of different types of ways to take in a ball game.
Absolutely. Sounds like a lot of options for so many different levels for you and your family to come out and enjoy a Richmond Flying Squirrels game if you're ever in the Richmond area. Got to ask you, Trey, as the voice of the Flying Squirrels, brand new ballpark, how do you like the new broadcast perch where you call games from?
Yeah, I'm really grateful that it's behind home plate. It's a really nice view of the whole field. We're in Hartford right now. They have a great ballpark. It's the next newest ballpark in the league. It opened up in 2017, and fan amenities in Hartford's ballpark are great. Team amenities are great. Broadcast booth spot is not. It is. They've done it a little bit to make it a little bit better since the last time we were here, but when I'm here, as an example, I can't see third base, shortstop, or left field from the broadcast booth. The people who made those decisions on our staff and with the development team, that stuff is important, making sure that the media and the broadcasters have a good angle. Even in the major leagues these days, they're moving the press boxes down into the corners and turning those areas into some premium spaces for fans. We have a great setup. We had a great setup at the Diamond, and we actually renovated that booth and made it a lot nicer a few years ago to hold us over. But I'm very spoiled. I think I have the best seat in the house. I'm elevated right behind home plate, and can see everything well. Although on Sunday, I did go down and sit in the stands for a little while. One of the seating sections, a little bit up the first baseline, and you're right on the game. There's some great seats down there. So maybe it's not exactly the best seat. There's probably a tie for first with a bunch of different areas, but I'm grateful that we've got a really nice space with a bunch of the technology that we can, from the TV broadcast side and MILB TV. We've made a pretty good investment in getting some great equipment so that we can, if you're not at the ballpark, we can hopefully make you feel like you're there and bring you into the ballpark.
Absolutely. I know with the opening weekend too, a lot of publicity out with CarMax Park to just drive those fans out there. When it comes to getting the fans out there, I know we mentioned the seating options and all the different areas. Any good food choices? Because I know when you go to a ballpark, I'm sure you're just like me. You got to find that good bite to eat while enjoying a baseball game.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to sample much of the food yet. We did a tasting event, a couple of tasting events at CarMax Park. I was out at spring training in Arizona and I missed them. So I didn't get a chance to participate in those. So I've slowly been trying to get a little bit when I get a chance. I did try a couple of the hot dogs over the weekend. They're great. That's a ballpark staple,
Can't go
obviously.
wrong.
Yeah. One of the areas of focus, look, at the Diamond, there were basically four concession stands for 10,000 people. And upstairs in the upper deck, there were two concession stands, and like 75% of the seats were upstairs. So it wasn't really efficient. The lines would get pretty backed up. And it just wasn't the fan experience that we wanted. And if you were waiting in line, you couldn't see the field at the Diamond. It was blocked. Now the concourses are open. You can see the field as you're walking the concourse, or if you're waiting, hopefully in a short wait in a line. We had a big crowd on Saturday night, and the lines were pretty much non-existent. So now that we've gotten kind of rolling, I think that the food and beverage operation is, got their feet under them and they've got that efficiency down. One of the things that helps with that is we have some grab and go stations where the food's already prepared. You just, if you want to, some of the staples are there: hot dogs, hamburgers, drinks. You just walk up and grab them, scan them, pay, and go. And I got a couple of hot dogs there during the game the other day just to test it out. I was in and out in about 45 seconds. Right back upstairs, sat down, and I was eating my hot dogs. So there are some other. I can't wait to try some of the specialty burgers and things like that. That's an area that I always that's a food that I always enjoy, but I haven't got a chance to sample those yet. But I've heard some good reviews from people who have. It's all I've had so far are the hot dogs, and that's again that's the basics. That's the staple number one, and they were solid.
So, Trey, fill us in anything I might have not have touched on that y- maybe could convince watchers, listeners to go down and enjoy a game at CarMax Park, brand new stadium, state of the art, and as you mentioned previously, getting a lot of people out there watching the Flying Squirrels.
Yeah, look, the Flying Squirrels experience, the numbers speak for themselves. We had our highest average attendance in the history of the franchise last year. We're currently leading all 120 minor league teams in attendance this year in average attendance. Um, people people come out and they have a good time. It's been for 100+ years, baseball games in the summer in Richmond have been where people have gathered to spend their time together. And now for decades, that place is going to be CarMax Park where people do that. It's the the experience if you are a baseball fan like I am. Like I touched on before, if you're a baseball fan and you just really want to watch baseball, it's a great place to do that. It's also a great, comfortable place to come out and have a social night out and maybe grab a few drinks, get some friends together, and it's a ballpark that I've been telling people, and now we're starting to see it play out. I've been telling people as we lead up to it, um, you got to get your feet in the building and see it for yourself. Uh, it's it's a beautiful facility, and I've said the word comfort a few times. That's a big thing. That's not always. Um, Not every facility for sports is super comfortable. This one, I think, is. There's a little bit of extra leg room in the seats. The seats are a little bit wider than they had been at our old place. But overall, it's just the stadium itself is incredible. But I think what the separator really is that our promo and entertainment team is so devoted to putting on an entertaining show from the moment the gates open 90 minutes before first pitch. Uh, it's it's they're they've gotten very innovative this year, and there's still a lot of stuff in the chamber that they haven't even brought out yet. That's going to be displayed throughout the season. From some of the live music pregame and the skits and other entertainment between innings and the fireworks. The people love our fireworks shows. There are a million different reasons why we've been so successful and why people gravitate to us and come out all throughout the summer. And that's just a few of them.
Absolutely. It sounds like the Flying Squirrels are off to a great start, 9-1 so far, as you mentioned, Trey. Currently, facing Hartford in a road set. Just take us through briefly what you're seeing out of the Flying Squirrels and what fans can expect come the rest of the season.
Yeah, when I got to look at the roster, when I first saw what our opening day roster was going to look like, I said, I think this might actually be a pretty good team. And it's nice to be validated now with, 150 teams in affiliated baseball from the major leagues and the minor leagues, and Richmond has the best record of all of them right now. 9-game winning streak is a franchise record, best start in franchise history. Uh, the team so far not hitting a ton of home runs, but they're a relentless offense. We saw it last night for the first game here in Hartford. They start scoring, and that ball gets rolling, and it's just hard to stop. And they take advantage of opportunities. They take advantage of the opponent's mistakes. It's April. Some teams are not playing clean baseball defensively and things like that, and our guys are pouncing on those opportunities and scoring runs. The pitching staff has been great. It's just a well-rounded, good baseball team. We have a couple of the highly touted prospects for the San Francisco Giants on this team, but even the guys who aren't necessarily getting as much prospect love, there are some really good baseball players who are going to have a chance to make an impact in the major leagues down the road. Who right now, I mean, there are, I think, 14 position players on the roster, and I don't know how Dennis Belfry is putting a lineup together every day, the manager, because there's so many guys that you just don't want to leave out of the lineup. Even last night, starting this series, I'm writing my lineup in, and Jonah Cox is on an 8-game hitting streak, and he's not in the lineup because there's just, he's getting the day off because there are other guys. Everybody's hitting, and again, it's not so much the power. Bo Davidson does have 3 homers. He homered twice the other night. He homered again last night. He's the top-ranked prospect if you're into that sort of thing on this team. But there are, so many exciting players. This team plays clean baseball. They play a little bit of old school baseball, contact, get a guy on, steal bases, bunt guys over, and then drive them in. And nice complementary baseball. It's been a really fun team to watch through these first few weeks. And look, they've won 9 games in a row. 6 of those games they've had to come from behind. At some point in the game they've trailed. So they've got a bunch of guys who are coming through with clutch hits, and it's even trailing in the 8th inning the other night, or trailing by 3 runs in the 10th inning on, I think it was Friday or Saturday. They went to extras, and Altoona scored 2 in the top of the 10th. They were down by 2, and Richmond scored 3 in the bottom of the 10th to walk off. You just never really felt like they were going to lose, and they lost the first game of the season. They gave up 6 runs in the 7th inning and lost by a run, and that's the only loss so far. The pitching staff in that Erie series struggled a little bit, but since then they've been locking it back down, and just every facet of the game, pitching, defense, and hitting, this team is really exciting, and that makes it a lot of fun too. It's something that we can't control locally, but it makes it a lot more fun when the team is playing well, and especially this type of baseball where it's a bunch of, it's not a big homer every other inning. It's getting guys on base, guys immediately. Most of the guys in the lineup, you think if they're on first, they're going to try and steal second, and that's a lot more fun to watch. So it's just a really exciting team, and I'm curious to see where things shake out once we get to the midpoint of the season and those first postseason spots are locked in. Hopefully, Richmond can win the first half in the division and lock in a playoff spot, and we can have postseason baseball at CarMax Park in the inaugural season.
That would be a lot of fun too, but the days are getting warmer. That is for sure. Richmond Flying Squirrels baseball is well underway in a new ballpark, CarMax Park. The voice of the Flying Squirrels, Trey Wilson, really appreciate some of his time with us talking about the Flying Squirrels in the brand new CarMax Park. Trey, great to connect with you. Thank you for your time. All the best to you and the season, and thanks for chatting some flying squirrels in CarMax Park.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Josh. Yeah, everybody come on down, come on out to CarMax Park. It's a great experience, and I look forward to seeing everybody at the yard this summer.